GGRC.
Hey everybody, RC here from GGRC. Today I wanted to talk about PlayStation Now on PC. Now, PlayStation Now is something that's been available for a very long time on PlayStation 4, but it's only been available for the past, three and a half, 4 years, somewhere in that realm on PC. But I've only actually just heard about it, believe it or not. I've heard people talk about PlayStation Now, and I always thought it was a PS4 only thing, right? I thought it was something you sign up for on PS4, and it's like, oh, you get this slew of games that you could play on there and download or stream or whatever. But it turns out that back in August of 2016, so yeah, I guess it's actually almost been 4 years here, that they released the PlayStation Now program on PC. And I gotta say, I've had it for a little bit, about a month or so, I would say. And I primarily signed up because A, it was $40 during their sale that they were having last month. And also, they had Spider-Man available to play, which we'll talk about more as the video goes on here. And I had a ball playing Spider-Man here. I will say that playing PlayStation Now definitely has its ups and downs. So what we're going to do is we're going to cover a bunch of pros and cons to the service and see if it's something that fits for you on PC. Because I feel like as someone who owns a PS4, you out there, that the service already seems like something you're going to want to get, considering I believe you can download the majority of the games that are on here right to your machine and play it. Which is cool. However, on PC, you are streaming everything, and that may not be everybody's cup of tea. You cannot download games on here, so keep that in mind. But yeah, let's get right into some of the pros here. So the first pro I want to talk about is the just absolute staggering amount of games that they have on PlayStation Now. You could load any of these games up right now, right off the bat, and just play it, and it's ready to go. It streams right to you. I mean, you have a ton of PlayStation exclusive games from PS1, PS2, PS3, and PS4, all just like right at your fingertips to play. I think that is absolutely amazing. I mean, right now in the What's Hot category, I mean, you have Just Cause 4, you can play that right now. You have Shadow of the Tomb Raider. You have Injustice Gods Among Us. It's an older game, but it's a goodie. They got Tekken 7, they got Dishonored 2, Sonic Generations, PlayStation Hits, Little Big Planet 3, Steep, Mafia 3 is up there. Control is up there, which I was actually playing a little bit of. So you could just see that there are a ton of great games on here to play. This is a service I feel like is a really, really good service to get if you are looking for just a huge collection of games from all of these different systems. Now on top of that, they also add new games every month. So you can see here that they recently added Watch Dogs 2 and Street Fighter 5 and Hello Neighbor, the Turing Test, which is an absolute classic game. Love that game. Metro Exodus was actually just added, which is interesting because it just left Game Pass. Now this might actually be my most favorite thing about the PlayStation Now service, and that is the fact that they have two things available for you, which are a to play list and a play history list. So for example, any game that you find on the service here, because there are so many games, it's hard to keep track of what they got. At any point, you can click on any of these games. So let's say, for example, I want to play I Am Bread at some point in the future, or Abzu, right? You click on Abzu, you go in, you can right here click your list. I'll move my head so you can see. You click your list, and it goes right onto your list up here. So another cool thing about this is that you could play this on any PC anywhere. So for example, if you play this on your computer at home and then you got to travel for work or something and you got to bring your laptop with you, you could just load the app right up on your laptop and play there. So you don't even have to worry about your computer being a beefy computer to play it, because it virtually just plays on a server somewhere else through a browser, so you don't have to worry about it, which is really, really cool that you can play this on virtually anything. However, there is no PS Now app for the Mac. There is no PS Now app for the Mac, so you can only play it on PC. So I guess those with a Mac, you could do like a boot camp thing where you install Windows, next to the Mac install, and you could play PlayStation Now that way if you want. But it seems like a lot of work to be able to stream games to your system. But hey, you know what? If you already got boot camp set up and everything, there you go. You're good to go. If you already have a PlayStation account, you already earn trophies and that kind of thing on it, you could keep earning trophies for that same account right in here. Some games don't have trophies, and one of the cons here is that it doesn't really tell you which games have trophies and which don't. If you click on a game like Altered Beast, for example, you see that this runs on PS3. So we know that PS3 had trophies, so it goes without saying that Altered Beast is going to have trophies. Same thing with Knack. Knack is a PS4 game. It's going to have trophies. What's really interesting is that, believe it or not, I was actually playing Ape Escape. Ape Escape is considered a PS2 game, but it had trophy support, which kind of boggled my mind because I was like, wait a minute, this one has trophy support? And I guess that is because at some point it became a backwards compatible game for PS3 maybe. Maybe that's what they did and they added trophies. However, I don't like that, as I said, the service doesn't tell you right up front here that there are trophies in the game for you to earn. Now, I absolutely love Game Pass on PC here. I love the fact that I can download games at my leisure and I have the full control of them. I have a full 60 FPS or higher experience with it. However, I don't like that Microsoft doesn't really tell you right off the bat how long a game is going to be around. With PlayStation Now, Sony does tell you. Now, the caveat is that you need to go to the website to see how long a game is going to be around. So, for example, one of the games, like Just Cause 4, I believe the game is only going to be around till October, but again, this menu doesn't tell you that. It doesn't say, hey, this game is only here until 10-something-20, you know? I wish they would tell you that. Tell me up here that there is a, you know, that this game is only going to be around for this many more months and I could prioritize to get around to it eventually, right? So starting out my list of cons with PlayStation Now on PC here is the fact that every single time you load up the service on your computer, you're going to have to log in. Now, this wouldn't normally be an issue, except you have to retype in your sign-in ID and password every single time. There's no save password option. There's no save my ID option. You're starting from scratch every single time. And it has been, I would say, 80 to 90% of the time, there's a captcha you have to do as well, where you have to select, select how many buses there are here, or select how many stop signs or traffic lights there are here. You have to do that almost every single time, and it just gets annoying. So one of the biggest cons with this app is how many times it kicks you out when you're playing a game. So I don't mean like when you're in the middle of a game, it never kicks you out when you're actually playing. I've never had that problem. But the problem I have is basically like when I pause a game and I leave for let's say more than 10 minutes. If I have to go use the bathroom, I have to run outside for something, have to answer the door, if I have to help my wife with something, whatever it is. If I'm gone for like 10 or 15 minutes, I will come back, it'll sign me out. And I don't mean just sign me out of the game, I mean it'll sign me out of PlayStation Now. So basically, like, if my game did not save, which nowadays most games will save by that point, but if it didn't, then I'm losing my progress, and I am basically starting from scratch, booting the game back up, getting back to where I was and everything, and it really takes you out of the game, which in my opinion is super, super annoying. What's really funny too is it even happens when you're just hanging out on the PlayStation Now page here. Like if we were just hanging out here, not moving, things around and clicking on games and such, I'm sure it would have kicked us out by now, but because we're actually active, it's not kicking us out. But if you're ever inactive on the service for 10-15 minutes or so, it will kick you out. You're going to have to re-log in. You're going to have to get yourself back into the game where you left off and everything. And for me, that was always a huge, huge annoyance. So some of you out there may disagree with me on this, but this is something that really bothers me about this whole setup here, is the absolutely bare bones UI that they have for PlayStation Now. Like you could basically go up here and click on some stuff, you can add funds and go to your account settings and stuff like that. You can redeem codes. However, that all just takes you out to a separate browser window. You don't actually do anything in PlayStation Now. You even click on their little settings here, settings button here, and it's for health and terms and privacy policy, which it's like, who cares, right? And then you have the option to use a controller instead of a mouse to get around the menus, and that's it. Like, It's very bare bones. Like, there isn't even a search function. You can't click a search, like a magnifying glass up here anywhere and actually search for something, which it boggles my mind. The year that we're in 2020, and you can't click a magnifying glass or some similar icon and search for a game. It is absolutely ridiculous. Just to show you how insane this UI is, you go through all these different basic, generated lists here. You have what's hot, recently added. You have your list, and you have family friendly, indie spotlight. Once you get through all the genre stuff, you eventually keep scrolling, and you get to here, A, B, and C. So here's what you can do. You got two ways to actually see all of the games on PlayStation Now, which is A, you can either scroll through all of the A, B, C, D, like everything in the alphabet, and add things to your list that way, or you can go to the website where you would, look up how long a game is going to be there, and they actually have a full list you can scroll through to see the game. Now, one of the other things I'm not the biggest fan of in these, with this setup either, with the UI, is the fact that if you click on any of these games, for example, like A Bastard's Tale, I actually haven't played this game, don't know anything about it. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, you click on read more, so you could certainly read more about it, but this is a video game and I'm going to be staring at it. What does the game look like? I would say 99% of the games on here don't include media. They don't include screenshots. They don't have a movie. I have found a couple that have, and I want to see. Let's scroll up and see if we can actually find one here. I'm curious. We'll click 3 different ones. What's hot? These are the three top games right here. So Rocket League, you go in, nothing. You could read more about it, but there's no media. Okay. Rainbow Six Siege, no media. Watch Dogs 2, no media. So why is there not a trailer playing right now? Or why do I not have the option to click a trailer to play? Why don't I have options to look at screenshots? Every single page here should have at least 3 screenshots and a trailer. I don't get that at all. Now, would you guys believe that of all games that have media on here, Knack has media? If you hit down a couple times, look, it actually has a trailer where you could see the game. Knack. So for the most part, when you're playing games on here, you're not going to have too much of trouble. You know what I mean? Like you're going to jump into the game. You may notice like it's slightly sluggish or whatever. It plays at 30 FPS. But once you actually get absorbed into the game, like for example, when I played Spider-Man, I just had a ball with that game. I had a ton of fun with it. And after a while, like I forgot I was even playing on a streaming service because I was just like really absorbed into the story and everything. So it goes without saying, when you're playing a great game, you're going to get absorbed into it and forget about it. However, I have had some really crappy experiences with certain games. So, for example, anything that I have played on PS3 seems to have some sort of a weird controller lag with it. Anything on PS4 seems to run pretty buttery smooth, and I don't have much of a problem with it. But I played both Altered Beast, and I played Frogger Returns, and I played Sonic 4 Episode 1, just to get some, different samples. And I feel like all 3 of those games just did not run very good, and that is to say, they look good, but there's so much input lag for your controller that Sonic, for example, he'll move a second after you hit right, and it's really annoying. Though we had a game like Ape Escape, which is considered a PS2 game, and it played flawlessly. Now, having said that about the PS3 stuff, you're obviously, because you're playing this over an internet connection, your experience is going to vary at times. You're going to have times, like I said, where I was playing Spider-Man, had no problems with it for hours on end. But then you might have a problem, maybe an hour later where everything starts to pixelate and you'll start seeing these weird artifacts coming up. And is it the machine I'm playing on? Is it my connection? Is it the fact that there's a lot of people playing on PlayStation Now right now? I have no idea, but that can get really annoying when that does crop up. So let's also talk about the controller setup for PlayStation Now. So when this was first released, I read that they only were supporting the PS4 controller. Now, over the years, they have enabled support for other controllers. That is to say, you can actually use a 360 controller, or I guess an Xbox One controller at this point. So used to saying 360 controller over the years because it's virtually the same controller. But regardless, you can use one of these on PlayStation Now, you just, there's some loopholes, and like there's a open source PS4 controller program that you can download that dupes it into thinking it's a PS4 controller. The only reason you really want to do that is if you're playing a game that requires you use the touchpad that is on the PS4 controller, this guy right here. Because Spider-Man, for instance, I was playing it with an Xbox controller for the first like 40 minutes or so and having a ball, and then all of a sudden I got out of the first like big mission that happened, and they were like, okay, now push the touchpad button to upgrade Spider-Man. And I'm looking on the Xbox One controller like, what? So this open source program will fool the PlayStation Now app into thinking that this has a touchpad button. It uses the back button, which is pretty great. But regardless of all that, you could use an Xbox One controller with anything that doesn't use the touchpad button, which is really, really handy if you just want to get in and test PlayStation Now and see how it goes. So as we mentioned, you can get the third-party app or the open source app, and you can use the back button for the touchpad stuff. So, which is a really, really good solution, I think, and it worked for a while there. But I decided, I'm going to get a PS4 controller, and because I want it to be authentic, and I want to use like the actual button prompts here, so that way I'm not getting confused in the middle of like a tough fight or something like that. So I actually ordered a PS4 controller. So get this, the PS4 controller will connect to your PC via Bluetooth, but it won't work in PlayStation Now wirelessly, which is weird because the Xbox One controller will. So you can connect that through Bluetooth, and it knows to use it. What? But you connect the PS4 controller through Bluetooth and it doesn't know to use it? Like, it is, that in my mind, it's just absolutely ridiculous. So if you're going to use a PS4 controller on PlayStation Now, it has to be plugged in. It has to be plugged in. So you could either use a wireless Xbox One controller, which I think most everybody has from, being I should say most every PC gamer has from playing on Steam, and just download an open source piece of software to make the back button a touchpad button. Or you can order a PS4 controller and plug it in and forget that we're in 2020 and wireless controllers are a normal thing now. It boggles my mind. It absolutely boggles my mind that this is a thing between the Xbox One and PS4 controller. It doesn't make any sense. On top of that too, before we leave this topic about the controllers, with the PS4 controller you get a charge cable, but it's only like this long, and when you connect it to your PC, what are you supposed to do? Like hunker down over here while you're playing? I actually had to order a longer USB cable so that way I could sit at my desk and play with a PS4 controller. Absolutely ridiculous. Now, believe it or not, you can order a wireless adapter for the PS4 controller to use on your PC, but for one, they are discontinued. You can't find them brand new on Amazon or anywhere else, and it's only been 3 or 4 years since they unveiled it. Or you could buy a really, really expensive one on eBay, or a knockoff one that's cheap on eBay that you're not even sure if it'll work. So, yeah, weird setup with the controllers. So even though PlayStation is good about telling you when their games are going to leave the service, they still leave the service, which really sucks. You always think you're going to get into a library of games and you're like, oh, cool, I'm going to get in here and I'll have plenty of time to play this game, only to find out like, oh no, that game is gone in 3 weeks, right? So it's like, okay, I got to manage my time and get in here. Like, that's what happened with me with Spider-Man. I got my account in there, and then lo and behold, they're like, nah, there's only a few weeks left for Spider-Man. So me, with the limited free time I had to make sure that I got in there and played a little bit of it every night to get through it, because it's not a super short game. I would say it's not, exorbitantly long or anything like that, but it's a longer game than I play these days, having a baby and everything like that. So yeah, it's crazy because even their exclusives will leave eventually. Now this con might be like a little bit out in the weeds a bit, this may not be much of a con for too many of you out there, but for those of you out there who are thinking about getting a PS4 or a PS5 in the future, and you may want your saves from PlayStation Now to be available on your new system, in case you want to play PlayStation Now on your new system, you want to convert everything from PC over. I guess there's a real weird, complicated way to do that. So you can take your saves and you can eventually move them over there, but you need to be a member of PlayStation Plus. Now, PlayStation Plus is yet another subscription that you can be a part of. You know, it offers like free games, or not free, I shouldn't say that. Everybody says it's free, but you're paying for a service. So you get games with it every month. And in addition, you can play online and you can do cloud saves. So the cloud save service, if you have that, you can actually upload your saves from these games to that service, and you can actually bring them down on your PlayStation 4, or I'm sure PlayStation 5 in the future when it comes out. But what's really weird, it seems as though if you are a PlayStation Plus subscriber, it's not an automatic feature in here. It doesn't automatically cloud save your stuff for you. You need to go in there and actually tell it to do that, which is pretty annoying. Yeah, it's not the best way to probably implement a save, or at least a cloud save system. So there you go, guys. That is PlayStation Now on PC. I honestly think it is a service that is worth checking out. Like I said, when it was on sale for me last month, I only paid $40 for it, which is less than the price of a brand new game. And I already got to play through Spider-Man, and I'm playing through a few other games as we speak too. And you know, you get that for a whole year. So it's like $40 for a year to put as much time into this, or as little time into this as you want, is definitely worth it for me. I know a lot of people are hesitant to do stuff like this or to jump into Game Pass because people want to own their games. I'm at a point in my life now where it's a little different for me. I don't really care about holding on to games anymore because I feel like I finish one, I move on to the next thing. And I rarely come back to games nowadays because my time is so limited. But I guess for those of you out there who, you know, don't have a wife, don't have a full-time job yet, don't have kids, you may be younger, whatever it is, you probably want to get those physical games. And I get it, you know, this is not something for you. But for me, digital has been like such a plus in my life, considering, you know, I can pay, you know, virtually pennies for a service like this, and I have access to all of these newer games that I otherwise would not have been able to buy because I'm, you know, basically saving my money for a lot of other things nowadays. So I think it's a great service. Like I said, please pay attention to the list of pros and cons here because I think that they're all very important things to pay attention to. And if there's anything I miss, or you have any questions at all about running PlayStation Now on your PC, about how well something works, or if a certain game is available or whatever, please ask me in the comments, and I'll definitely try to figure that out for you and find out. But guys, I just want to say thank you for watching. I hope this helped you out. If it did, give me a GG in the comments. And of course, I'll see you all next time.